Okay, well then I will call the meeting to order. Good evening, everyone. And we'll start with our statement about remote attendance. Pursuant to the gubernatorial disaster proclamation and the declaration of emergency for the city of Urbana, Illinois, related to the COVID-19 pandemic, and in accordance with the changes to the Open Meetings Act, Public Act PA 101-0640, it has been determined that an in-person public meeting is not prudent or safe at this time. Members of the public body will attend remotely using Zoom webinar. Members of the public may also attend via Zoom. The board is suspending the usual electronic attendance and voting section of the board bylaws and will allow all board members to attend this meeting remotely and fully participate remotely. Becky, would you please call the roll?
Yes, just a minute. Lupe is having troubles getting in. We're gonna try her again here.
Okay.
There she is.
Yeah, this is like the third time, so to see if she can. Okay, are we ready? Okay, Michael?
Here.
Mark?
Here.
Jane?
Here.
Gloria?
Here.
Sharice?
Here.
John?
Here.
Beth?
Here.
Barb?
Here.
Lupe?
All right.
She's
Is that it here? Yeah, there she is.
here.
Okay, you've all had a chance to see the agenda. Are there any additions or corrections, any modifications to the agenda that anyone wants to propose? Seeing and hearing none, is there a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Michael is seconding. Thank you. Okay, Becky, could you please call the roll?
Yes. Michael?
Here. Yes.
Mark?
Yes.
Jane?
Yes.
Gloria?
Yes.
Sharice? Where'd she
Yes.
go? Okay. I'm trying to figure out. John?
Yes.
Beth?
Yes.
Barb?
Yes.
Lupe?
Yes.
Okay, any opposed? And that was unanimous, so that will carry. Do we have any public comment today?
Nobody's emailed in public comment.
All righty, then we will move right into our presentations. And let us start by introducing Mike Hannon. Mike, you're not on my screen at the moment, but I think I saw you there before.
Trying to get it. There we go.
There we go. Okay, I don't know, Mike, if you want to introduce yourself, or Celeste, if you want to introduce Mike, whichever.
I'm going to take just a quick moment and say how absolutely delighted we are that Mike is working at the Urbana Free Library. He's got many years experience at Champaign and other places, and he is our first facilities manager, and we are so happy to have Mike on staff. So Mike, take it away.
I appreciate that. Yes, I worked as a facility supervisor for the city of Champaign for about 20 years. Took a slight decade-long vacation, saw this ad and decided, I really miss doing this. So I applied and got lucky enough to get it. And I'm really excited to be doing this again.
Wonderful.
Outstanding. Well, we're really happy to have you.
I think I'm going to be busy though.
You've come over to the correct side of Wright Street.
Yeah. Well, my wife works for the city of Urbana now. She's a finance director, so
Oh, you're Elizabeth's husband.
I am.
Ah, hello.
Hi.
Well, that changes everything for Sharice. I don't know. Well, Mike, welcome on behalf of the board. We're delighted to have you here, and thanks for
Appreciate it. I hope I do a good job for you guys.
Yeah, these are exciting times. Okay, thank you. Now let's move on to Gloria. I know you must be here someplace, but you're in my other screen, I think. You're gonna have to say something, or we won't. There. Oh, look at that.
Yes, I am here. Sorry, multitasking a bit.
Outstanding. All right, Gloria. Gloria, you're going to talk to us about the Champaign County Welcoming Plan.
Yes, thank you, John. Good evening, everyone. I'm really glad to have the opportunity tonight to share the Champaign County Welcoming Plan with everyone. The plan is a guide for all of Champaign County to build a community of belonging where all of us, no matter where we come from, have an equal opportunity to thrive. So let's have at it. And I think you should all be able to see my screen, correct? Do you see
Yes.
slide 2? Yes, okay, just
Mhm.
my computer, I think, is lagging a little bit. So the plan is, why do we have a Champaign County Welcoming Plan? It's really important because nearly 1 in 8 of residents in Champaign County is foreign born. And according to the most recent American Community Survey 5-year estimates, there are actually over 25,000 foreign-born residents living in Champaign County. So that's 12.2% of our population. Fun factoid, next time you're in the grocery store, walking around the library, just in your place of work, just remembering that, wow, our community is truly made up and representative of many, many different nations. A few years ago, thanks to a grant from the New American Economy and also from Welcoming America, we were able to publish a customized research report that highlighted the economic and demographic impact of immigrants locally, from the diversity of traditions that they bring to their contributions to our labor force. The data snapshot and census data, which is in much of the report, tell us that our foreign-born population plays a key role in our growth. In fact, nearly 1/3 of our population growth over the past decade can be attributed to immigrants, and Champaign County was one of only 9 counties out of 102 across the state with a growing population between 2010 and 2019. And in the state of Illinois, this is a big achievement. So 53.4% of immigrants in Champaign County entered the US in 2010 or later. So really, as a community, we have some catching up to do in order to ensure that our community is a place where everyone has an equitable opportunity to thrive and has equal access to opportunity. So toward that end, after the release of that economic and data report that we released, we joined together with stakeholders all across the community to address different sorts of gaps and challenges to access and opportunity for our foreign-born residents. And thanks to the guidance of our advisory board and also steering committee for the Welcoming Plan, we chose to focus on 5 key areas that you see on the screen here. So economic integration and employment, citizenship and civic engagement, health and well-being, language and education, and public safety. In each of these 5 areas, we formed working groups, and we also embarked on a really extensive community engagement process. And this process allowed us to listen to the community members through listening sessions, through focus groups, through surveys of individuals, organizations, and local employers in 6 different languages. And we ultimately were able to use the expertise of each working group combined with data collected from nearly 1,000 stakeholders to develop actionable recommendations for inclusion and opportunity. And the result of that was the PDF that was linked or is linked in your agenda today. One example that I wanted to highlight is the area of language and education. So in this area, we commit to promoting language acquisition and to increasing educational opportunities through 3 primary goals. Strengthening language acquisition opportunities for learners of all ages, building a foundation of cultural sensitivity and appreciation, and your faces are blocking the last one, supporting education as a bridge to professional development and higher education. So in this area, as with all other areas, there are really carefully crafted short and long-term strategies. So for example, on the short-term end, we want to make sure that we're equipping adults to use translation apps and similar programs as a stopgap measure to address emergency language needs that we're seeing in the community. One example of this is increasing awareness and utilization of resources like Pronunciator, which is something that the Urbana Free Library offers. We also want to make sure that we're celebrating and encouraging multilingual skills by increasing non-English language book access in public libraries. So I believe, I don't remember how many months ago, but I know that the board recently accepted a donation that's going to increase Chinese language literature collection for us. These are lower hanging fruit, but we also want to work towards the realization of bigger goals. So one example of a longer term goal in this area that maybe will happen as soon as 5 years from now is developing a pre-literacy program in Spanish for limited literacy Indigenous Maya communities in Champaign County who don't have literacy skills in their native language. So that's just kind of one example of a deep dive in one area. There's a lot of work ahead, if those quick examples gave you any indication, but we're so glad to be able to be working hand in hand with leaders and organizations all around the community who dedicated their time, their resources, and their talent to the creation of the plan, and also who celebrated the release of the plan just under a month ago. And it's pictured here after nearly 3 years of intermittent, but 3 years nonetheless, 3 years of work. And it's really because of the firm commitment of the multi-sector coalition that we were able to bring together, including the Urbana Free Library, that the plan was and is possible, and that our community identified goals will come to fruition. I'm really, really proud to be part of a board and of an organization that is really responsive to community needs and explicitly commits to making our community better by promoting diversity, equity, and inclusion, just as one example in its collections and programs in its strategic plan. So pictured here are a few examples. On the left is the annual Welcome Awards. I think this picture is from 2019 because we haven't been able to do it in person in Lewis for a couple years, but hopefully next year will be the year. In the middle is a picture of the Welcoming Collaborative, and just another example of the library working hand in hand with organizations around the community to plan bridge building events. And I can't quite tell if Lauren is in this picture, but I know that Lauren is the representative for the library at the Welcoming Collaborative meeting. So thank you so much, Lauren. And the final picture is just an indicator of how the library often not only introduces community members to diverse traditions, but also creates a friendly space and a recognizable welcoming space for others to observe traditions that are already familiar to them. So this picture is the creation of paper lanterns during Lunar New Year. I know that this month there are a lot of amazing activities planned for Hispanic Heritage Month. As you may know, I am myself based at the University YMCA, where I direct our New American Welcome Center. And the Welcome Center strives to ensure equitable access, economic opportunity, and meaningful belonging for all. But we are not an Office of Immigrant Affairs. So it took a community-wide effort to co-create this plan, and it's definitely going to need a community-wide effort to implement. So I wanted to, in closing, share a few ways that you can get involved as a board or as an individual. There are different levels of engagement depending on your bandwidth and your area of interest. I think on the far left, you can help us expand our partnerships. So introduce us to potential partners who may be interested in thinking about how they can implement the plan themselves, who just want to learn more about how to make our community more welcoming to immigrants. Another way that folks can get involved is by leading or joining a community of practice. We know that the work that we do is not done in silos, that we are better when we work together, when we think together, when we succeed and fail together and prove together. And so we want to be establishing communities of practice in each of the different key areas, from economic integration and employment to health and well-being. We also are inviting people to collaborate on funding opportunities for us. A lot of the very specific strategies that we've outlined are going to take not only more staff time and commitment, but an infusion of financial resources. And so we're actively pursuing different opportunities to collaborate with organizations around the community. Another example is helping us pursue certified welcoming. This is a special program that is offered by Welcoming America, a national organization that puts cities through a pretty rigorous certification process to evaluate how they are working towards becoming and meeting markers of being welcoming. We are also looking for people who really love data and evaluation to help us develop progress reports. We want to be accountable to the community on a yearly basis and report back on how we've been doing things. I don't think we can reach Celeste's level of reporting back on a monthly basis, which is truly a feat. I will give you kudos whenever I can to that, but we do want to be reporting back at least on a yearly basis on how we are making progress. And then finally, we want to make a really easy way and a really easy portal for folks to engage with all of these different things, to look at the data, to review our survey input and community input, to read the plan, to find different ways to get involved, and to just really join the collaborative effort of welcoming in Champaign County. So thank you for giving me the space to tell you a little bit about the welcoming plan, and I'm happy if there's time to take any questions that folks may have.
Gloria, thank you. Are there any questions for Gloria? I'll say something. So Gloria, first of all, we're very proud that you would, with this exceptional work that you're doing, that you would see the value in serving the way that you serve on this board. We appreciate that very much, and are proud to hear what you are doing in a very important area within our community. So thanks for giving us more background about that. And I may get a double dose of this week because I've asked Gloria to come speak to Kiwanis later in the week. So I'm gonna give her more time than Celeste gave her though. So I don't know what that means.
Thanks, John.
Charisse.
I was just hoping that maybe at the very least we could get a copy too of your PowerPoint, but I know that the mayor is involved in the welcoming committee thing, and maybe you could have a presentation about that for the city sometime too, like something similar like what you did tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd be very happy to.
Okay.
Yeah, I love that Champaign County is leading the way in showing just how wonderful the contributions are that come from our immigrant community. If only people would pay attention. Let's hope that happens more. Celeste.
I just also want to thank Rachel Fuller, who is involved with some of the committees as well. Rachel, thank you for your time and commitment.
Yes, thank you so much, Rachel. Your contributions to our citizenship and civic engagement groups and our meetings in the Saturday, the conference room. Thank you very much.
How in what other ways can people be involved in, I know my time is often occupied with doctor's appointments and dishes. So and cooking. So what I would like to know too, what other ways can just your average everyday person contribute in some way? I was thinking in particularly with helping people from other countries get a grasp of the English language, since mostly everything in this country is done in English. How can that do you have like English language classes and stuff like that too to try to help with the acclimation, people being here from someplace else?
Yeah, so we don't, at the New American Welcome Center, we don't offer English language classes, but Project Read is at their Urbana Free Library, for example. We have, Charisse, is a multilingual language helpline that people can call into or email. And what we do is we can either provide a service ourselves, or what we love to do more is to bridge the gap to resources in the community, connecting folks with services and programming that already exists in the community, and through our staff, or through different contractors that we work with, bridge that language access gap. And then in terms of being able to quickly and easily share about the plan amidst everyone's really busy schedules, we have many physical copies of the plan that I'm happy to drop off, for example, at the library or just to you directly, Charisse, that is easy to share. And just telling people about the plan, that it's a thing that exists and it's a thing that they can get involved with, and sharing some of the data that I shared with you guys today, because I think it's something that's always kind of eye-opening for folks in the community once they learn, and then they want to do something about it to make sure that Champaign County continues to be a really good home for everyone who is here.
Okay, yeah, because the thing I've noticed is how little our own residents really know about what's available to them. So, you know, if they want to volunteer for things, you know, it's like there's so many things. It would just be nice to. That's why I was wondering as well if there's another type of path that somebody can take to help you guys out, you know.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, always feel free to shoot me an email and we'll try to do our best to kind of help folks navigate through the pretty unique different sorts of challenges that everyone has.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks for those questions and comments, Charisse, and thank you, Gloria, again. I think we're going to move on, unless there are any other questions, which I don't see. We're going to go on to 7.3, and Lauren, you're going to give us an overview of the summer reading program.
Let me share my screen real quick. It helps if I unmute myself, of course. Okay, there we go. All right. Oh, that is the wrong one. Give me just one moment. That's my side. I knew I was going to do that. All right, it's only showing that one. Well, we will go with this then. I don't want to make you guys wait while I play with this a little bit more. So summer reading was from May 15th to August 31st. Our theme this year was Reading Colors Your World, which was the I Read theme, which is for several years we've gone along with the I Read theme for it. And let me go to my next slide. So we had some challenges for this year's summer reading because it was our second year during the pandemic. So one of the things I wanted to highlight that we did is normally for our big push for summer reading, especially with children, is threefold, and we weren't able to do any of those things. We had to come up with some new promotional ways of reaching people. So normally we go visit all of the grade schools and we're able to see the kids. We either do skits or we do book talks. We give the schools physical copies of either our reading logs or information about summer reading. So it goes to every student, gets a copy. And we also do a kickoff event. Now, of course, last year, the schools were all virtual, and holding an in-person kickoff event at the beginning of this summer really wasn't an option. So instead, what we did is we looked at what was already working, which were our family craft kits, and decided to put those together with our summer reading ideas to come up with activity kits for summer reading. And these worked really well. We had 4 kits. We had one that was preschool through kindergarten, one that was kindergarten through 5th grade. Teen, of course, is, 6th grade through the end of high school, and one for adults. So we had offered 4 different kits. And just to give you an example of what those looked like, down here, you'll see this little ducky. This was our pre-K and kindergarten kit where kids could make this little duck as their craft. And this is everything that came in that kit. So you'll see we had information about summer reading, some coloring things, and also information for parents, though, about the importance of reading to your child, and also trying to combat, what we would normally, what we call the summer slide. For our older kids, they got a little bit more of a challenge craft-wise. We asked them to make origami cranes that were in different colors. That was the big craft, and then they could bring those back to the library and we would put them in a display. And what you're seeing in this picture is some cranes that volunteers made, so we could kind of show people what that display would look like. They did a great job, and we had 100 cranes up in our department at one point. For teens, we decided to make it a little more chill. The last year for school was really difficult. And so we found some great bookmarks that they could use to color. We gave them the coloring materials and the bookmarks. And so their craft was just coloring bookmarks. And these are some examples. And then for adults, since there's such a wide range of crafting ideas people have and what they like, they had 2 different options. So in their kit, they got to either do a paper craft to make this geometric bowl, or they could do a yarn weaving craft, and they could take a plastic cup and make it into this kind of fun and funky yarn cup instead. And these worked pretty well. We heard from people that they really liked doing the craft. One of them we actually ended up making more of. We gave out at least 2/3 to 3/4 of every craft we made. By the end of summer reading, most of our kits were pretty much gone. Other promotion we did, things that had worked well in years past that we kept doing, since we couldn't do as much outreach, of course, because outreach events weren't happening. What you're seeing is we made more of the summer reading yard signs for people to take and then put in their yards to sort of let their neighbors know and their entire neighborhoods that summer reading was happening and that they could join. And we also reached out to preschools and summer school classes and offered to get them poster-sized copies of our summer reading kids log so that the classes could do all of summer reading together. And we had one school, I think, take us up on that, and I gave them 10 logs at the beginning of summer reading. And then, of course, for summer reading, you know, we had programs for adults, teens, and children. So birth to, you know, however old you are, there was a summer reading program for you. So what did our overall statistics look like? So of course, last year was some of our lowest summer reading numbers because it was the middle of the pandemic. And this year we had almost double. So these are actually closer to our 2019 numbers for summer reading. So you'll see overall in 2021, we had over 1,000 people register for summer reading. Last year was an outlier for our completion rate, though we didn't have as many people sign up. More people than normal percentage-wise completed summer reading. This year, our overall completion rate was 45.41%. And just to put that in context, you'll see that the average for the past 6 years is 46.61%. So we were actually, even though we're still in the pandemic, we're actually doing pretty good with years past. Some of these numbers, especially for the adult groups, are very close to what we saw in 2019 for our registration amounts, and which was much better than I thought we might be, given how many people we had participate last year. So I was very pleased with how many people registered and participated. And I think that just goes to show the work that staff put into it, because I know I heard lots of staff members, especially with those on the desk, asking people if they had signed up for summer reading, letting them know about it, doing really a lot of that groundwork effort that gets people involved and gets them signed up and excited for it. Okay, so enough numbers. Besides our reading for, our reading numbers for summer reading, we also do programs. So I'm just going to walk you through some of the fun things we did, just to give you an idea of the variety of programs we did this summer. I'm going to start with Colors in Nature, which is a partnership with the Champaign County Forest Preserve. It went really well with our theme. And this year, because it was still the pandemic, we weren't really able to hold a lot of programs inside the library. So most of these programs were either done outside or they were completely virtual, which is why I don't have quite as many pictures of actually being in the programs as I would like to have. Taking screenshots on Zoom, it's not quite the same as being able to take them in person. The middle picture there is our free comic book day event that we were able to hold. We did this outside. It was all ages. Kids could make masks or take them home to make them, in addition to getting their free comic books. We had a trivia contest, and as always, the most popular part is creating a city out of boxes that then the kids can knock down and rebuild and knock it down again. And that happened the entire time we had the program going. We've also been doing a pretty successful Jump into Science program, which normally we partner with different groups from the university to put this on. This is a children's program. And just one example over the summer was a solar oven where kids got different materials that they could take home, and then working with the online program, we're able to make small solar ovens, and then they could try to cook things. For adults, we did a fantastic fiction book club, which was a sci-fi and fantasy book club, which is one of the collections we're really known for being very, very strong in. For teens, so we couldn't do teen open lab, so we did teen online lab, where each week kids could come on and get kits and then make different crafts or hang out and do games online. And I just wanted to highlight that one of the things we did this summer that I was really excited about, we had a community member reach out to us who is experienced in doing henna. And so I actually was able to walk the teens through how to do henna, which was just absolutely wonderful. More outside programs, we did a poetry walk that invited kids to use their 5 senses to find inspiration for poems in the library grounds. And we were able to do a little bit of outreach. So the bottom picture there is a partnership with the Park District where we brought out a group called Joyful Bubbles, which I think it's pretty self-explanatory based on the picture what they do. They're absolutely fantastic with bubbles. And we also did a tree walk in Carl Park. We had a member of the Park District that was talking about the trees in Carl Park and giving people, sort of an informative talk about what you could find in the park there. And then the last thing I want to highlight is our Juneteenth program, which was also was done by 2 artists, Shia Robinson and Stacy Robinson. It was one of our first artists with the corridor events that we were able to do, where we were actually able to bring new artwork into the library. And they offered to then put on this Juneteenth program as well, because their art was very focused on Afrofuturism. I think right now it might actually be in the University YMCA. It was a fantastic display. They turned some of their artwork into coloring sheets, and so people could come in and do their own coloring for their art. I'm keeping my fingers crossed because their goal is to eventually turn this into a picture book, and I would love to have them back to do a talk for it. They also brought drawing tablets so aspiring artists could actually try a new format of making art that maybe they haven't been able to use if they have that technology barrier, which many do. So it was just a really good program. And so overall for programs, this is just by a month kind of the breakdown. So we did 20 programs with 231 attendants in May, 55 programs in June, 41 in July, and 40 in August, which is 156 programs overall, or about 1.4, almost 1.5 programs per day, which, given that we are still in the pandemic, I am very pleased that we were able to do that many. And we had over 3,000 attendees. And this last picture is a young artist studio where kids and family members could come and work with a chalk artist and learn how to make just some absolutely fantastic chalk designs. They were so creative. There was so much wonderful art made that day. So the last thing I want to point out is that we have started doing a feedback survey at the end of each of all of our summer reading sessions so that we can find out what has worked really well, and also maybe areas that people would like us to see us do something different. And I just wanted to highlight some of the results for you. So we had 85 people answer our summer reading survey, which isn't too bad. Over 90% said that they would be likely or extremely likely to participate next year based on this year. Over 40% said they read more books because of summer reading. And a number of people, when we asked them what their favorite part was, said that they loved summer reading as an incentive to read more. And also to track their reading, because with our app, they can then go back and see what they've already read. And that it gave them a really good feeling to see how much they had been able to read this summer. And then the last thing is we had a couple of parents tell us that, their kids love getting their prizes, but in addition to promoting reading for their kids and all of the cognitive benefits that go along with that, it was also created really great moments for the family, where it brought the parent and child closer together and gave them just this wonderful bonding opportunity to read, whenever they were doing that over the summer, and they've really appreciated having that opportunity. And that feedback just really made my heart, and I know the children's librarians' hearts, very happy. And then I just want to, of course, acknowledge our donors. Even during the pandemic, we had a number of companies help supply us with prizes for our children's summer reading programs. That was Texas Roadhouse, Dairy Queen, Jets Pizza, Target, Walmart, AMC, Champaign 13. All of the yarn you saw for the adult summer reading craft kit came from Catherine Ritchie. She has been donating yarn to us so much that I was able to make 100 craft kits based on the yarn that she made. So I'm so thankful for her for doing that. And then of course, our friends of the library, we cannot thank them enough. They fund our prizes every year and allowed us to give up to 2 free books to everyone who was able to, reach those reading goals for summer reading. And parents tell us constantly how much it means to their kids to be able to come to the library and pick up free books. Teens as well. I know some teens that this is how they get books for themselves, was through summer reading programs and being able to get those prizes. And it means a lot to them to actually then have a book that's theirs. So we just want to thank the friends as well. All right. So that is the end of my presentation.
Lauren, thank you. That was amazing. What a great encourager for families and especially the kids that are looking for things to do. And what an important time to create that synergy that we did this year. So any questions from the board for Lauren?
No questions, but kudos and thank you for your hard work.
Well, thank you so much. It's a lot of fun to put together.
Yeah. Okay, well, Lauren, thanks so much. And we're going to move on to item 7.4, which looks like we've got some team teaching that's about to happen. Is that right? We've got multiple chapters to cover tonight. Who drew the short straw and gets to go first?
That would be me, Donica Swan.
Yay, Donica.
Let me share my screen real quick. Now I'm going to say what Lauren said, which is need to put it in presentation view. Do you all see the slides?
Yes.
Okay. So we are doing the.
We are seeing your view, so we're not seeing
Okay.
presentation view. It's fine, but
Let me.
It did the same thing to me, Donica.
Yeah, I'm going to exit and just let you see my view because my notes are on a different screen. So we are going to do the per capita grant requirement, the Serving Our Public 4.0 standards for Illinois public libraries. And my chapter is chapter 7, collection management. So did this last year. I'm going to read you the short description of what they expect from public libraries. So the purpose of the collection management standards is to ensure that Illinois public libraries offer a full range of materials and electronic resources that are current, accessible, cataloged, classified, and relevant to community needs. Collection management includes planning, selecting, and building of resources in all formats needed by the library's community. So we are meeting the standards that are in the checklist for this year. Some of the ways that we're meeting the collection management requirements include our collection management policies. So the library has a collection management policy and the archives has a separate one. They are pretty robust and inclusive. We provide a variety of materials in various formats. So one of the standards is to make sure that we are complementing our print and physical formats with e-resources, including our databases. We also have the archives. So we have, in addition to all of those great resources, we have our special collections holdings and our local history resources, primary sources that are in the archives. We also catalog our materials according to standard library practices. So for us, that means we utilize MARC 21 AACR2 and RDA as recommended. Those are the kind of universal standards in the US. So we can share those resources through the WorldCat catalog and through our Champaign-Urbana catalog, our PAC. We also continually evaluate our collections. So we're measuring usage and determining how to best develop the collection based on community needs. So we use a variety of data points to decide, whether we need to develop more in that area or pull back, or whether something needs to be updated or replaced in our collection. We also participate in resource sharing. So that means we have our catalog that we share with Champaign. We also offer services like interlibrary loans. If a patron wants resources that we don't have readily available at the library, we can always do an interlibrary loan to make sure we're filling that need. And that is my short and sweet presentation. Next up, we have the Reference and Readers Advisory Services.
So, and I will be speaking about that this evening. So this chapter is similar to the chapter from last year. You will notice one difference perhaps, and that is the change from the library's Reference and Readers Advisory policy to an information services policy. This is a new trend in libraries because many libraries offer materials beyond books, and our staff regularly advise on what type of information would be best. And so in an effort to be inclusive of the material types that we offer as a library, and then also that the services that staff are offering and what constitutes a reader in our community, we updated our policy so that it is called an information services policy. But there are many libraries that do still refer to it as a reference and readers advisory policy. We continue to provide information services. So we provide those services in person, of course, bearing in mind and practicing all of the best practices recommended by the CDC, IDPH, and CUPHD. And we continue to provide services via phone and email as well. And we also, of course, offer many tools for staff and patrons. So we offer databases such as Novelist, which can help readers find read-alikes or their next book. We offer online resources, which are increasingly popular. We saw a large uptick during the beginning of COVID, and though that has leveled off some, we do see still an overall increase in use there. We have personalized reading lists, which gained in popularity with COVID, and our books and more bundles continue to be popular. That was something we added in COVID. We previously offered it as a teacher's hold service, and we do still offer it to teachers, of course, but we also opened it up to parents and families, and we received lots and lots of great feedback about that. So I'm pleased to say that we meet the standards in this area as well.
And then it's me again. So I'm going to talk about programming real quick. I can say we meet or are working on all of the standards that are within the standards manual. Ways we do this, so they do say that you need to offer types of programs that are educational, recreational, informational, and cultural, and that you should serve everyone from birth to adults and seniors, which we of course do. We also have a meeting room policy that defines how people can use our meeting room, and procedures that also define how people can use our other display spaces in the library as well. And then just real quick, I'm going to go through some programs that we offered over the past year to show how we meet the other parts of the standards, or some of the highlights in our checklist. So for adults offering educational and informational, we did a program that was finding strength in difficult times. Families, we offered corner take-home bookmarks, which is part of those take-home kits that I was talking about. This was one of our first forays into doing this, and where we realized that it was going to be incredibly successful. This summer, there was as part of Pride Month, there was a drag queen in King in the Park done by the Up Center and some local drag queens. And we were there to do outreach and share library information about library services there. One of the standards also talks about partnering with outside organizations. We did that in our Crochet Coral Reef, which we did a couple of times this year, where we partnered with people from the U of I and showed people how they could blend science and crafts together to make coral out of crochet and make that part of a bigger display. The Black Her Story Slam was with the Urbana Poet Laureate, and it was a way for community members of color, primarily women, to express themselves, and also was part of a kind of both Black History Month and Women's History Month program. Then for teens, we held a book opening for the Writers at Hoya, which is a teen poetry group. And at the bottom, you can see we had our Read to the Dogs program for little ones to encourage literacy. And then for adults, we also did a family treasure show and tell for the archives that invited people to come bring their items from their family and then share that with everyone else. And we saw some really interesting items that got brought there. And all of our programs, of course, are free of charge, whether we do them here or other places.
Okay, thank you, Lauren.
All right, so back over to me very quickly for a brief update regarding Chapter 11, which is youth and young adult services. This is defined in serving our public as ages 0 to 18, and the recommendation is to meet the recreational and educational needs and services. And so we do that through our print and digital collections, the information services that we provide, our programs and outreach, but we also have dedicated space and furniture, which is designed for youth and young adults. And then we also have staff who specialize in services to youth and young adults as well. So we provide all of the same services and more to folks who fall into that youth and young adult services category. We work very hard to promote literacy and different types of learning and competencies every day of the year.
And then the last chapter is the last chapter we're talking about tonight is chapter 13, which is marketing, promotion, and collaboration. And this particular chapter details all of the ways the library should be reaching out to the community as a best practice, as standards, including social media and just community involvement, that sort of thing. We are currently meeting or working on all of the standards in chapter 13. And just to highlight a couple of the areas we're working on, our website, we've made some changes to our website to update the look and the menus to make it easier to find things. So we're regularly updating it to communicate with our community. However, we know that our platform is a bit outdated. So we're starting, we've done a bunch of research and development of a new website over the past year. So a lot of our planning work is done. And our next step is to move forward with an RFP to help with the actual structural, technical back-end design of a new site, hopefully over the next month. And once we have that done, which will take several more months, the new website will allow us to communicate better with patrons because we'll have a new design and even easier navigation. Also considering things like being able to translate the site into different languages and more accessibility features as well. Another thing we're working on is looking into other ways that we can engage patrons using technology. We've been actively investigating various patron engagement tools that will allow us to target messages to different segments of our community in ways that we haven't been able to so far. And this will also create easier ways for patrons for us to receive feedback from patrons as well. And then finally, one thing that's mentioned in this chapter is our brand identity. And since adopting the strategic plan, we've been moving to a new look. And I appreciate Gloria using our little icons in her presentation. That's part of our new branding. And we haven't really spent the time to kind of bring that all together in one place and really talk about how do we use this and where, and who has access to it, and things like that. So that's part of the work that we'll be doing as part of the new website. So I think that's all of the chapters that we're reviewing tonight. Danica, is there anything else?
That is what we have. Does anyone have any questions for us?
Therese.
I was just wondering, because you're talking about we're updating the website and everything. Is that also going to translate to the app?
So the app right now is done with a company called Communico, and we do update it regularly. Our current website is not as mobile friendly as we would like it to be. So the new website will be much more mobile friendly. So we'll have the app kind of in its existing format and continue to update it as Communico does. But the new website will be much easier to use on a mobile device.
Okay.
Beth, you are muted. There you go.
So we have separate policies for the collections for the archives, which makes sense, versus the library. And something I can't remember is within the library, are there different ways we go about the collections for children's versus the adults?
Absolutely. So of course, the patrons that we're catering to with those different collections have different interests, different needs. And we are very mindful about making sure that we offer a cohesive library collection while also still allowing us to cater to the needs of the patrons. So some good examples of ways that we're mindful of that is we offer formats downstairs that we don't necessarily offer in other areas of the library. Perfect example are board books. And we have a pop-up book collection. Those engage our learners a little bit differently. But we also have some organization that's done a little bit differently. So we offer graphic novels on the ground floor, children's graphic novels, and then we also offer them on the second floor, which is our young adult and our adult collection. The searching patterns of patrons for who use those two different collections are different. And so even though we offer the same items, the way that we've categorized them are a little bit different. For instance, when kids come in, they want to read the next Garfield, and they're less concerned about, let's say, like what topics are covered with Garfield, right? They want the next Garfield or the next Diary of a Wimpy Kid. And so we've adjusted those things accordingly. And we've created within our graphic novels a microcosm of our larger collection. So we're definitely mindful. We also have different criteria by which we reorder items. And we do find that with little hands, we tend to reorder some items a little bit more quickly than we do upstairs as well.
Okay, excellent answer. Thank you.
Okay, Beth, thanks for the question. And are there any others before we move on? All right. Well, so Rachel and Amanda and Danica and Lauren, I haven't been fast enough because I've been muted to say thank you after your incremental presentation. So thank you all for everything that you've done. Great presentations. A lot of information tonight. With that, let's move on. I think we've got the consent agenda. And I'm going to read this for you, and then I'll entertain a motion. Oh, Celeste, go right ahead.
One thing, an update on the building program process.
Yes.
So
oh, that's right. That is in there as well. Sorry for skipping over that. 7.5, update on the building.
So here is where we are with the building program process. The management team has looked over Fred's document as it stands, which is over 200 pages. He had questions and comments. Management has responded back. Dawn and I are taking a look at that to send it back to Fred, but we're pausing for a moment with the process. We're recommending a pause because Eleanor, our wonderful circulation manager who works with the shelvers and the cafe baristas and our volunteers, she's retiring as of February 3rd. And it is both important and urgent that we look at her position and determine how it is we want to move ahead next. Do we replace her position as a one-to-one basis, or do we do what we normally do, which is look at the library as a whole and see what our needs are and fill a position in that way? So as is our custom, Dawn and I have reached out to the staff as a whole to say, here is a change that is, Eleanor announced first. We said, here is a change that is coming. What kind of feedback can you give us? What would you like to see stay the same? And what would you like us to do differently? So we've been meeting with staff and we are looking forward to their feedback. The management team is looking again at the org chart, what makes sense to move around and what makes sense to stay the same. So we're going to focus for a little while on filling Eleanor's position as closely as possible to her departure. And then we will focus a little bit more back on the building program process, but we're still moving ahead. With the holidays coming, Fred and I have talked about maybe starting focus groups after first of the year, because once you get into Thanksgiving and Christmas, people in the community might not be as available to participate in the process, and we do want people to have that opportunity. So unless you feel very strongly otherwise, we'd like to reprioritize this for just a couple months, focus on this urgent and important filling of Eleanor's open position, and focus on this as important but not as urgent.
Celeste and I talked about this before, and I agreed that this is a place where we should be devoting our energy toward the staff evaluation process. And so we did agree, though, that it's something that we should bounce off the board. So if anybody has any concerns about that or questions about it, this is the time to bring those up. But that's what our plan is. Okay.
It makes total sense to put it on pause.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not for very long. And there's been an enormous amount that's been accomplished already.
Yeah.
So, okay. Thank you, Celeste, for that. Now we will move on to the consent agenda. So the items on the consent agenda tonight are board meeting minutes from September 14, 2021, payroll for September 24th, 2021, totaling $100,324.94. Payroll for October 8th, 2021, totaling $99,968.87. Bills for September 17, 2021, totaling $15,828.42. Bills for September 23, 2021, totaling $15,024.22. Bills for October 1st, 2021, totaling $12,319.39. And bills for October 7, 2021, totaling $64,691.67. Does anybody wish to remove any of those items that are on the consent agenda? Okay, seeing and hearing none, is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I so move.
Okay, it's been moved by Barb. Is there a second?
A second.
Okay, second by Charisse. Becky, please call the roll.
Michael,
Yes.
Mark,
Yes.
Jane,
Yes.
Gloria,
Yes.
Charisse,
Yes.
John,
Yes.
Beth,
Yes.
Barb,
Yes.
Lupe.
Yes.
Are there any opposed? Okay, that's unanimous and the motion carries. Thanks very much. Let's move on to item 9. So we have a budget amendment that's in your materials, 9.1. Is there a motion to approve?
So move.
Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Jane. Is there any discussion on this one? Okay, seeing and hearing none. Becky, please call the roll.
Michael,
Yes.
Mark,
Yes.
Jane,
Yes.
Gloria,
Yes.
Charisse,
Yes.
John,
Yes.
Beth,
Yes.
Barb,
Yes.
Lupe.
Yes.
Are there any opposed? All right, the ayes have it, motion carries. It was unanimous. Okay, on to 9.2. Let's put these into 3 different ones. We have Roman numeral 4B, computer and internet use policy. Is there a motion to approve?
So move.
Moved by Michael. Is there a second?
Second.
By Jane. Any discussion? Okay, Becky, please call the roll.
Michael,
Yes.
Mark,
Yes.
Jane,
Yes.
Gloria,
Yes.
Charisse,
Yes.
John,
Yes.
Beth,
Yes.
Barb,
Yes.
Lupe.
Yes.
Okay, any opposed? The ayes have it. It was unanimous again. Item B, Roman numeral 6C, schedules. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
It's been moved by Jane. Is there a second?
A
Second.
second.
Okay, you're off in a morass of people. I can't see who did that one. I'm going to give it to Gloria. Gloria was on mute. That's not fair. I can't
Gloria
really-
will
It's
second,
fine.
but she was on mute.
Yeah, I saw you like never go to an auction. Okay, so been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion on that topic? Hearing none. Becky, please call the roll.
Michael,
Yes.
Mark,
Yes.
Jane,
Yes.
Gloria,
Yes.
Sharice,
Yes.
John,
Yes.
Beth,
Yes.
Barb,
Yes.
Lupe? Lupe?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, are there any opposed? Okay, the ayes have it. The motion carries. It's unanimous as well. And lastly, the nepotism policy, which is Roman numeral 6K. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Moved by Jane. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Gloria. Any discussion? Okay, Becky, please call the roll.
Michael,
Yes.
Mark,
Yes.
Jane,
Yes.
Gloria,
Yes.
Sharice,
Yes.
John,
Yes.
Beth,
Yes.
Barb,
Yes.
Lupe?
Yes.
Okay, any opposed? The ayes have it. Motion carries, and that was unanimous. Are there any discussion items tonight? See a lot of shaking heads. All right, then we're going to move on to reports, and we have the Friends. Barb, do you have anything to report for us tonight?
I have not heard anything. Celeste, is there anything? No, nothing new.
Okay, the foundation. I was not at the last meeting. Celeste or Amanda, do either of you have something to say about that?
I
Celeste.
do have some things for you, because this is exciting. The foundation has been very proactive in reaching out for different fundraising opportunities. And there's no one here, so I'm going to take my mask off. They are done coming to the bathroom.
We see your face.
We have a new business in Champaign, Suzu's Japanese Bakery. Between October 29th and October 31st, when people buy a Japanese Totoro cheesecake, 50% of the sale price will go to the foundation as a fundraiser. The 6-inch cheesecake is available by pre-order online or by calling, and then curbside pickup is available. And the board received a flyer for this. So if you would like to share that, it'll be on our Facebook page and such as well. We appreciate you getting the word out. It looks delicious.
Yeah, who doesn't like cheesecake?
So 3 more things. The foundation has really been busy. The annual campaign will launch in November. And this year's request is to support the children's area, specifically to purchase new shelving for the new book area to make browsing easier so that picture books can be more face out and accessible. Circulation has been shown to go up in libraries when the kids can see the front covers better than just the spines. And so thank you to Rachel and Amanda who've been working on getting that information together for the foundation. Also, the 23 engraved pavers that were sold during the August Cherry Alley campaign should be in right after Thanksgiving. And we hope to have them installed if the ground is not frozen yet. And let's hope it's not in Thanksgiving. And then the last super exciting brand new news is the foundation will be the recipient of Common Ground's Roundup for Good program in February 2022. So for any of you that are Common Ground co-op members, thank you for voting for the foundation. We appreciate that.
Standing.
And
Thanks,
thank you
Celeste.
for Amanda, for all her great work with the foundation.
Yes, that's right. Excellent. Let's move on to 11.3, Illinois Heartland. Lupe, you are stepping aside. But do you have anything to report today? And aside from that, you can talk about your decision.
Yeah, so I apologize. My internet is terrible. I'm traveling I'm in southwestern Kentucky tonight. So I did decide to step aside from IHLS. The responsibilities were pretty heavy and were taking away considerably from time, not only from my family, but from the time that I can spend and devote to the library. I actually haven't even stepped foot in the library in a number of months. So I hope to have more time to spend with my family there. But as a note, and
and still to support IHLS is the annual member day is November 18th. It will be all virtual. I attended last year, and there's lots of really great stuff for trustees to take advantage of during that member day. So that's November 18th, and registration is open on the IHLS website.
Thanks, Lupe. And thanks for all of your service for Heartland in the past. We've really appreciated having you represent us. And we appreciate that you're prioritizing. That's something we all should do. And we hope you come back safely and that your part of Kentucky gets the internet soon. Yeah, my apologies to anybody from Kentucky that didn't like that comment. Swell 0.0 administrator reports. Anything else to add? Celeste, your excellent report we got in paper. All right. Board and committee reports. Are there any beyond what we've just discussed? Okay. I have nothing to add for the board president's report. And any unfinished business? Any new business? All right. Well, I think we have covered everything we need to cover. Celeste, have we done okay tonight? Oh, we got 2 thumbs up. Good for you. And you didn't even do that virtually with your. All right. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
It's been moved. And is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Everybody in favor, please nod. Yeah. Okay. We generally agree on everything, don't we? All right. Well, thanks, everybody. Stay safe, and we'll see you in a month, if not before.
Bye,
We're
everybody.
adjourned. Bye.